that instead?
Time.
He's
I
like,
would love to
poker,
play
I only
poker.
play Sabak. The Star Wars
Sabak
poker.
is what we Twi'leks call poker.
Ah, that's the kind of games that I invite my friends to. Prestigious
Yes.
friends who I owe favors, not business associates who
come
want money.
Oh, come now. You're being...
We are traveling information brokers. How many times do you think we're going to be back to a rebel-held planet playing
I
Sabacc?
want to give you a complete opposite of what you're saying. Lando Calrissian.
I
He
just
was
go.
a businessman who worked with the rebels, got rich, and was basically Lord of Bespin.
So Arthur, here's what I do. I look at the governor, and I look at Dargo. I look at the rest of the crew, and I'm just like, well, it's nice meeting you. I don't want your money. You're a great man. I'm gonna go board the ship. You deal with this. And I walk up and I just get back on the ship.
I am very grateful for the money and the for the goods you have given us. That was the negotiation, and I do not believe that we have any need of more.
You guys
I
are
would
terrible
prefer-
businessmen. Just putting that out there. But all
So,
right,
the
Dargo
Lady
concedes.
Trantor sends you a gigantic information packet in RAR format, Jax. It's to update your ship's like simulator. So when you're not in flight, you can like make the cockpit so that you're doing it. It's to convert your YT-1300 to kind of like an interceptor, so you can pretend you're flying one. Kind of. It's not precise. You know, it's really basic. It's like something you get in an arcade, but you could do it in your ship.
By the way, can I just point something out right now? My motivation, number one motivation for my character is to make friends, not enemies. So, you know, this sort of shit's just like...
So here's the flip side to that argument.
Money.
We just were the enablers of the Empire losing a planet. Like,
Yes,
the
that's why we need
Imperials are going to be
friends.
after us, and we did
Right,
it
we
for
need
chump
friends.
change.
Yeah, and
because
now
of
you're
that.
like, oh, and the rebels, the only people that don't hate us right now, we're gonna blackmail. And the other thing
No,
is, we
I'm
could have just waited
establishing
with this
a
information.
business relationship with them. I'm giving them first crack at the sale of information, and they're like, "You want to be our friends instead, right? Yeah, wink, wink.
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I really
no,
do.
I mean that's fine.
I want friends. I want
Dargo
places
is
to hide out.
absolutely-
When,
Well, it's just that
Nothing-
we could have just waited and then like did this later on without our names attached to it, right?
Well, we can still sell it later.
Well, no, I mean we could have sold it to them later without our names. Like, be like, we have this information. Send money
Anonymously.
To here. Yeah, there was no need to do it now. That's what I was saying earlier.
Okay.
Like,
Well,
there was no
Dargo
benefit to
puts-
doing it now.
And now he's backing down and walking out with his botham tail between his legs.
He's literally, the senator is like, please, Mr. Dargo, if we're not going to have a friendly relationship, we are going to have a business one. I insist that you be paid for your services.
That's all I ask.
How
Considering
much would be
just
appropriate?
an extra 2,000 credits.
I will send you an extra 5,000 credits, sir.
Fantastic. Pleasure doing business with you. If you need any more information in the future, you know who is trustworthy.
He sent you 5,000 alliance credits.
Of course he did. It's a giant fuck you.
And guess what? All of that is Dargo's. I don't want nothing of that.
Okay.
I wanted a place where we could actually, you know, go when the if the Imperials were after us, like a safe harbor.
Yeah, let's not role play solemn this thing where we can never go back to a fucking town again.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
I want to go up to. I want to go up to him and like, you know, put my gun down and say, we do not all think like this. Seriously, please do not think of us as merely business associates.
You're a bounty hunter. You bring people in for money.
Yeah,
Yes,
but he needs business friends. He needs friends still. I mean,
I
everyone-
do it if they break the they break the law.
I'm spending one of my dark side die as your alarms go off. As a Victory class Star Destroyer, the Iron Fist arrives in orbit at a hyperdrive with an Imperial interdictor and 4 blockade runners, and immediately starts opening fire on the Nebulon B frigate.
And I'm like, we are information brokers and not warriors. I think our job is done here. And
There's
I start,
there's a
hustling.
nest of TIE fighters, like 30 of them, now engaging like the 24 X-wings, and it's a huge fucking mess in the atmosphere.
Right.
So what's the
Arthur,
plan?
I know we're running short on time.
Yep.
I'm going to wire those 5,000 Alliance credits directly to a trust established for the guard for her 4-year-old with medical bills to pay, and establish something for her to receive the treatment that she requires and get her off world.
She needed 10,000 credits. But yeah, you could pay half of her payment now that you got her mom killed.
And her mom's dead, so
That's what I
You were literally like, I promise I'm going to save your daughter. Then you're flying it off. You're like, I might not say. I'll pay for half of it.
See now, if he were our friends, we could like point out, hey, by the way, to do this, we needed to.
Obviously, Alliance credits are worth more than Rebel credits or
They're
Imperial
worth the
credits,
exact
right?
same, just not to the other side. Good thing you have a hut smuggler friend who can just watch them for you.
All right,
So-
yeah, I'll pay the
so-
5,000 credits to the hut smuggler
You know,
do
if
what?
we had
to watch the
remained friends, we could maybe have gotten the Lord Governor here to do this as a favor.
Oh well.
Because-
So, what I was saying, Tyler,
what
was
is-
not. Uh-oh.
Random. Why did they drop?
Everybody
Can
dropped.
anybody hear me?
Yep.
No, I mean myself and Virgil and Thor was fine.
Tyler,
Oh.
I was saying not watch, wash. They could wash the credits, turn them from Alliance to Imperial.
yeah, it's not a problem to get other credits, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Credits is no problem.
Anyway, so
Yes, Jax, you are correct. He could have leveraged his senatorialness and planetary governorness to have helped the girl in his hospitals. You know, the ones he volunteers for.
Yep. Oh well. I mean, so ultimately we got a bag full of leaves.
So, and then we just need to get
1,000
off the
credits.
planet.
So what's the plan
basically, we lost everything.
The plan is simply to run away.
there? All right.
Alright.
So I think for the opening of next episode, you guys are like flying up, and there's like X-wings and TIE fighters all over the place, and you see like a Nebulon B frigate on one side and a Victory class Star Destroyer on the other, exchanging fire. There's shield flashes, and you guys are just flying up through that. Excellent. I'm gonna
Tyler
put
still
out-
can't.
Yeah, I'm going to put out
He's
the
trying
straw
to come
polls
back.
now for people to vote for their favorite characters. That's going to be in Twitch chat, and it will also be on the VOD. If you want to click on the description section in YouTube below. That's right, he's pointing down below. Man, Skype has been pretty bad tonight. You guys should let me host. I don't know what happened with that.
Tyler still isn't back here yet. by the
I
way.
still
Yeah.
think we should switch to Roll20 because I honestly believe it's 1,000 times better.
I don't know about that. WebRCT is horrible. Oh, okay.
And Skype is not horrible. Like it's not that it's. I mean, saying one thing is horrible and then being like, "We'll use Skype instead," is just a little funny.
Obviously, we only need to all switch to Zoom.
Fuck's
Any
sake, man.
closing thoughts tonight?
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to seduce a hut, and he was really hard to seduce. So
Yeah, that's how huts roll.
yeah,
And I'm back.
that hut ab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it was a good session. We got got the
we need to
thing
get
done.
We need to get Tyler back. And yeah, and I think maybe we need to talk about what our characters' motivations are. Because,
I don't know.
like,
I know you guys are a little annoyed about it, but I think the opposing character motivations worked out for some amazing drama here. Dargo
Yeah.
basically betraying the party at that point. Everyone was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And Dargo was like, I can't tell them. I gotta save this little girl and get her medicine."
That wasn't really what I was
Oh, really?
trying to
Well, you were
do.
just being a dick then. Okay.
Was I really being a dick?
Well, yeah,
Like,
you're
yeah.
bribing a dude in his own
totally
home.
backstabbed the people that we had just done a job for without asking any of us. They were like our legitimate.
Okay, I probably should have asked you
Jax
guys
was
for-
super
Yeah.
unhappy with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
my character too was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And you're like, "No, it's fine, it's cool." Like, okay.
I feel like maybe
here's
the
the
next
thing,
episode should start out with a crew meeting, but Jax is literally like in the pilot seat, like, "Oh my god!" and everyone's like, "Listen, Dargo, we have to talk about your method," and then it's like, "Ah!"
Like, yeah.
So here's the thing: Dargo kind of expected that he was being used to do
Yes.
something
Yep.
incredibly dangerous, and at the
knew
end of
that.
it, like the entire mission, he was being lied to, and he didn't appreciate that at all. And so that's what that last scene was about.
Well, I mean, you
and
can't not be in the deciding meeting. Like you literally just said, "I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to spy on people because I trust no one." And then when we came back, we were like, "Yeah, we made a decision without you because you didn't come along." You're just like, and we're like,
Okay.
And you didn't
So-
you didn't change the plan, but you did complain about it a lot. And then it
Yeah.
was like when we went back, you're just like, "All right, new plan. Like stab this guy in the back." And despite like pushes to be like, maybe we aren't wanting to do
please,
this.
let's
We
not
can
do
do
that.
it later.
I also love how you like, instead of doing the mission first, you're like, "I'm going to do these objectives first."
So that if
Which
yeah,
Yeah, and
well, you went in and you got in the barge and you kept wanting to do these slicing things. That if you fucked up, we couldn't do the mission.
I'm curious. What were you going to put on the message? Like, what was the message you were going to put up?
The one word.
The one word
the
thing.
one word.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been Grimscatter,
Okay.
which is
I
what
really wanted to throw that Grimscatter shade out there. Be like,
Yeah.
Grimscatter's behind everything, man. They
I
run
feel-
the government.
I feel like if you
So-
just said,
so-
"Hey, I want to track this guy down," we'd be like, "Sweet, let's do it. We're a crew."
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
just being like,
No,
"I'm going to
that's-
circumnavigate all the plans that these guys have by doing things on the side."
So the other
Yeah.
reason why I wanted that slicing role was specifically for your character's backstory, because
Yeah,
I knew
but-
that you had the obligation, and so that was the purpose of the first slicing role.
I
Right,
know.
you
I
should have
understand.
kept in mind though, like a slicing roll, a bad one can cut like your ability to slice. So that would have broken the ability for us to do the double slice completely.
That's
It was like
true.
it was highly. It was just like when you wanted to do the other thing when we were about to drop the thing. It was like a thing that was very risky, and there was no benefit to doing it then. But just because you were like, let's do it, and everyone else was like, no, there's no benefit. We can do it again later. You can try to get this info later. Like right now is when we need to do the thing. And
Yeah,
I think you weren't thinking team oriented enough. You're,
At-
Okay.
at the e-
No, that's fair.
And again, at the end, we wanted to, be friends with a guy. Then later, if you feel like backstabbing the guy and trying to sell info for him, go for that. But don't do it while we're present, because I wanted to be friends with that guy. I was like super happy to.
Yeah, like imagine
Yeah, his
being
wife was hot,
in a room
man.
and like all three of us are like, oh, here's
We were
my card. Oh, cool. Oh, they're
So
teasing about
you're-
the disguise, and then one person's like, oh yeah, and also we want money for this information, or we'll sell it to someone else. And you'd be like, oh my god, I am
We're like,
so
no,
uncomfortable right
and,
now."
and everybody else was.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, no, we don't. No, we don't.
It's like the
And-
So fair
super
enough. Okay,
uncomfortable.
so I played that last scene very wrong. I should have involved you guys ahead of time.
No, you didn't play it wrong. You played it to your character. Let's be
Yeah.
100% clear there. There's no wrong role playing.
So there's playing it to your character, but your character can't just screw over everyone else's. Otherwise, the entire team falls apart.
Right.
And I completely understand that.
Well,
and-
maybe this is like I mean, we don't have to look at this as like a bad thing that your character did. It's more like now that you understand that the rest of the party was 100% against this decision you made, it could just be like I mean, my intention was to just use, because it sounds like sort of backstory-wise, your intention was to use Coral as a cover for you to do what you need to do, right? That's what it sort of sounds like. And
Yeah.
maybe instead of maybe the first 2 episodes we've spent sort of establishing that, maybe we can spend the last 3 episodes of you being here retroactively changing that now, instead of it
Okay.
being like a
if you want to work on that storyline, like
yeah, no,
over the course of
100%.
next
I mean,
week.
I feel like this is sort of the tipping point where the rest of the party was 100% vocal against your decision that you made on our behalf.
Sure.
That this would be like the thing that your character sort of sits down and goes, well, I mean, if I don't have my friends, who do I have, or whatever the fuck you want to you want to do it as like some sort of emotional change. But I don't think it was you being a bad role player. I think it was you playing to your character. But I honestly think if the party environment needs to work, we need to be more cohesive about the party decisions that we make. And to hold that regard, I honestly think that your character's great. I love him. He has a very specific skill set. It's unfortunate that you couldn't use it to full effect for some fucking reason in the fucking like slicing.
Yeah, that was a bad run.
But it also highlights that where your priorities were this episode more than anything. Your priority was definitely to frame someone else to lure him out, right? And that's ultimately what you were trying to do.
I guess that's one way to phrase it. Yeah. I mean, I would probably say so while we were on the barge, the first priority was protecting the party, which is what that first slicing roll was about. After that, I was just trying to get the information. And then beyond that, it was more to flesh out this character that keeps cropping up from Dargo's history. So yeah, I mean, it's I wouldn't say it's the first priority, but like going back, I had the opportunity to completely screw you guys over in the base and go after Dargo's Grimscatter backstory thing that I've been talking about with Arthur, but then decided it was a better idea not to go down that route. Primarily because you guys would royally hate where Dargo was going. I honestly thought that you guys would go along with that.
Thought you backed my play, dudes. Everyone was starting to walk out the room. You're just like, guys.
You should. I tried to give you the hint where I was like, "Can't we do this later?" Like, took you aside, which is a weird thing to do, anyways, in a role playing scene. It'd be like, "Oh, I just stop him and bring him aside." It's already a little meta.
Yeah. Plus, Carl finally got to cross-dress, and you almost took that away from him, man.
Oh, I didn't stop
almost took that away from him.
Definitely got time as a cross-dresser.
No, you know who almost took that away from me?
So here's the thing. Like, we talked about the character backstories. We decided we were information brokers. We were out to make money. Coral, you have financial obligations. Toby, you have financial obligations. And Jax, you're all about going out into the outer rim to collect money for bounties. I kind of felt like I'm
all about exploration. I want to see the world, and and try and help the Bothan network.
Yeah, the other thing was the only reason I thought it was
sort of be like the good guy, sort of.
So I can think of two very good reasons why Coral wouldn't have gone along with this plan. One, the rebellion is the one group that doesn't have anything out against him, and he just pissed off his Hutt ally who's on planet. And two, he pissed off the Imperials who are already coming after him. It kind of felt like we were being used in a terrible way, and I thought more people would jump behind that, and it didn't work. And I apologize to putting you guys in that situation.
Anthony Hopkins was so good at shaking everybody's hand and being like, "You remind me of my son, young lad."
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you haven't worked it out yet, Carl isn't exactly a shining beacon of not being like he trusts people like wholeheartedly. Sure. From the very beginning, he's like, "Yeah, you smell great. You must be trustworthy." Like, that is his whole thing.
Sandalwood.
Yeah.
And Dargo, I think, is probably the exact opposite. He trusts virtually no one. Yeah. So maybe we need to work on kind of our stories and figure out our backstories a little better to figure out.
I don't know. I like your stories now.
I know. I like our stories. I think that Dargo just has.
Game.
I think Dargo has like maybe just has a little bit differing opinion, like a strong view of characters that aren't as accurate as they could be.
No, and honestly, I think this probably as a character was a learning experience for Dargo as well as me.
I have a question. I have a question for Dargo. Like, does he
Dargo or Tyler?
Dargo. Okay. Does he have does he still what does he view the current crew as?
Right now, I would say he views Jax as invaluable as a gun. He's the guy you want around when shit goes sideways. And I think really the point at which Dargo backed away from his whole extorting the rebel spy was when Jax said, "Yep, I'm out." And Dargo was like, "Well, I guess I'm just going now." Coral is he rescued him off of Nar Shaddaa and got him away from the Hutts. it was originally a business transaction, but I think he kind of views him as a very useful mouthpiece, both to obfuscate who he is and also to talk the way out of situations. And Toby's just fun to have around. He's a useful like lens to see the world because he can view things through his sensors, and he keeps people functioning. He's a medical droid.
So yeah, the one. I mean, I do like the character too.
What's your take on Jax?
Yeah,
You already
you
said
said
Jax.
being racist.
Like
'cause
you
he's
are the
bluffing?
guy, Jax. You make me feel safe.
You were the gun, man.
You are the
Okay.
gun. Like you are the
Skype
guy
is,
that.
Skype is horrible. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Like,
think
as
we
a
need to
player,
work on more like emotional connections to the characters more than like this one's used for this
Wow,
and this
really?
one's
We're
used
mirror
for this.
shading this? Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. It's happening.
So yeah, and I think that's a really important point to know about Dargo's character is that he doesn't trust a lot of people. I had kind of walked into this thinking that it would be Coral since he has the most amount of backstory. And we can certainly work towards that, but I didn't feel like that was the case for this play session.
I think
Wait,
you need
what
to
do you-
Han. I think you need to do a quick Han Solo and like instead of being like, "Look, I'm a scoundrel. I'm a this," you need to be like, "All right, I'm in with the team." Like Han did that fairly, flip where he's like, "I don't give a shit about anyone or anything but my money." And then
Yeah.
like next thing he's like a general in the
Vader's
fucking
like,
rebel.
ah!
Wait, what was that about my backstory? I missed that. I'm sorry.
So I mean, so Dargo has the most amount of history with Coral, and I think the whole reason why Dargo and Coral stuck together after you guys both got off Nar Shaddaa was because Dargo felt a connection with Coral. And we
Yeah.
kind of worked that into our backstory, I think, or at least I did. Like
It
that
got
was-
work at the backstory, but not the current story.
Yeah,
but
it,
not the current story.
it doesn't.
That
It
is
doesn't
not-
feel like that, man.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we're gonna have to work on if that's gonna be something we continue down, or it could just be like he relies more on Jax, and that's the thing that we can take the story to.
I see Carl as like just sort of like a homeless vagrant taking on the role as a captain. You know what I mean?
Jax is just in it to see the
Yeah,
galaxy
like-
and have fun. I mean, I'm like, oh my god, a TIE Interceptor! I want to fly that. And I was like, the greatest thing I got out of Jax got out of this was not all the money and all the stuff that we can sell. It's the fact that I now have a hologram so I can pretend that I am flying an interceptor.
I did feel
Well,
today like a couple too many times I was using my character to just like push the story along and not like having a line of dialogue that was clever or this or but just being like, all right, let's go. Come on.
I don't know that that's
Let's
ever
go.
a problem, especially with this group.
We
That's-
can need that sometimes.
That's not a negative there, Virgil.
No, it's a negative on you guys.
Look,
Oh.
Virgil.
Wait,
if
am I in
you-
that?
Pick it up.
Am I in that,
No,
you
no.
guys?
No.
Okay,
It's
all
just
right.
that when we've said the same thing too many times, and I'm just like, all right, like my character would say this because I'd be a robot. I'd be very patient, like,
Virgil, if you want
So
me
it's
to
out
like
of character.
apply makeup to your robot, I can totally do it.
I do. I want to feel pretty.
You
Greetings,
just gotta
I
let me
am
know,
human.
man. I can maybe draw like lightning bolts on your chassis or something. You know.
You gonna put
Yeah,
I don't
deckles
know
we-
on
what
them?
robots
You
do.
gonna deckle
we,
them
we
up?
did already
Yeah.
make you all cool and cyan.
I know.
Did
We need
that
to
process.
refill. We need to refill my jetpack too. But yeah, next session
That
we
thing
should try
fell
to
off.
have. We should try to have some like spaceship time, like when we're like flying in space and we're like just hanging out, like have some scenes in the spaceship.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have
Yeah,
the cliffhanger.
I think
of running the
establishing
blockade
more
first.
character relationships.
Can we have the episode where the only food left is Vader O's and everyone's getting real angry at each other because the only food left is Vader O's? Except for Carl, he's like, fuck
I'll
it,
tell
I
you
love
what.
Vader O's.
Episode after next, that can be the opening scene. Is like you're adrift in space with no fuel, and all you've got left is a couple of Vader O's, and everyone's like, "Fuck this shit." Can't
I'm
believe
trying
this.
to like figure out how to convert the Vaderos into fuel somehow.
So I will say there was one scene that I felt that the party worked really well together. It was only for a moment, but that's what I had hoped our group would have been. And that's the moment where we were cornered by the Z95s and Coral was on the comm link and Dargo was passing fake registration information over, and then we played from there. And I think that was a great part of the story. And I think that's what I want to have kind of moving forward, that kind of dynamic where
Right. There was even like a silly robot part intro to that scene. It was perfect.
yeah, Yeah,
been
exactly.
great
that
if
was
By
I
a
the
had
way,
great
Tyler,
scene.
what is my fucking gangster name?
Oh God, I'll tell you next week.
Things delicious, obviously.
It would have been great if I'd actually managed to not fuck up that piloting role at the same time, so we could
Oh,
all
there
have
were
been
so
awesome
many
at the
screwed
same.
up rolls. It was unreal.
Every roll failed for about 40 minutes to an hour.
We
I
just,
feel
we
like-
just make a
I-
golden rule here where
Honestly,
we feel
this
like
could have been an episode of Firefly. You guys fucked up repeatedly, and then at the end, you're like, "Oh, look at this MacGuffin! Just gonna walk on in here and steal it while planting evidence somebody else was here."
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, that was that. You know what?
That made
I'm
it
pretty
such
sure
a
that
fun
was the
episode.
plot line to Ocean's 11, is what you guys did.
Yeah.
It made the whole the
It
whole
made- it
episode
made-
a lot cooler.
it's kind of like when you're trying to get through like a massive like bolt
made it-
door or whatever, but then you realize that it's actually open the entire time, and you're like,
It made it great.
motherfucker.
I think that actually brings up a really good point because the original plan was not our plan, and we completely screwed it
Right.
up.
Another thing
And-
though is we were like, oh, no one likes this plan. It's dangerous. But I think we need to be a little bit more ballsy with like where we're putting our characters. We already kind of said that this was not going to be super danger, like insta death in every situation.
Yeah.
And that we were going to play a little more like we could have a little more adventurous stuff. And I think we should really let the adventure like run free and not be like, oh, I would do this, but it's too dangerous. No, do it because it's exciting.
Here's
right?
the thing: Carl would do it because it's fucking fun.
Yeah, that's
Like-
that's the characters we should play because those are Star Wars characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thor, I think you had something to say.
I was just going to say that I wish I had. I kept trying to think of something actual cool to do, but it was just like I'm piloting this ship.
Yeah,
They're
well,
doing
everyone
stuff.
else failed repeatedly and fucked up. You
I'm
were the tough,
like-
competent guy.
Then I
man,
failed the
shot that guy.
Remember, vote with your hearts, guys. I voted for Thor on all 3 categories.
Yay!
I'm not saying you should vote for Thor,
but you are. I mean, come on, guys.
Hey, what are the votes at right now?
Come
I
on,
think
guys,
Dave is
give me-
winning in every category with like 100% of all the votes.
Oh, awesome. I'll be
You
honest.
could only win
the
one
fact-
category, right? So the
I'll-
next highest
I'll
person will win the others.
I'll be completely honest and say that I felt a little bit upset about the fact that I got less total votes in all 3 categories than Dave got in one category.
Well, I
Like-
think Dave's streamers are here today. Like his stream followers are here
Yeah.
today, and they're gonna fucking crush the votes. What you
That's
should
why I
do,
said
Thor,
what category, man.
like Thor.
Come on.
I had my girlfriend
Some-
vote for me. Like, why don't you just start texting your fucking family?
You
Yeah,
have a
I
game
don't-
Grandma,
store,
you gotta
man.
vote for me.
You should put a poster up. Be
It's
like,
not
hey,
a
watch me in
scientific
this show
poll.
and then vote for me.
I don't think Arthur's checking IP addresses.
Actually,
So-
straw poll
The
is.
straw poll.
Is
does.
it?
Do that.
I'm pretty sure you can't even vote twice from the same.
You can't. It
I don't-
does an
that's-
IP luck. Thor, apparently... Oh, I'm sorry. Dave, your gangster name is Rib Slim Jimma. According to chat.
Rib Slim Jimma.
Who fucking posted that?
Feral
Rib
kitten.
Slim
Yeah.
Jimma.
I want to know who
Yeah.
said that too.
All right. Yeah, Rib Slim Jimmer. There we go.
That's Coral's gangster name. It's a code name, man. No, it's my outlaw name. It's not. Don't worry. It's cool to have a code name.
Yeah, next time we get stuck in a place where it's like, hey, what are you doing? Who are you? And I'll be like, fucking Rib Slim Jimmer, man. Have you heard of me? And I'll be like, wait, the Rib... No, I've never heard of you. It's like,
I
fuck,
kind of
man.
feel like his gangster name should be a straw poll.
Oh my god. We'd have to have options though. I'll think
Yeah.
of it during the week and come up with some stuff.
All right.
You fucks.
Rib Slim Jimma.
All right. Well, I'm
right.
still having fun with this.
I hope so. We literally spent 45 minutes talking about the game.
Yeah.
It seems like it seems
I'm
like
getting a
every episode
Yeah.
of this show we're just gonna completely critique it rather than at the end of the show every episode we're just gonna be like, how's the system so far for you guys? Well, let me pull out my graphic calculator and a glass of tea.
What, do you not want us to talk about?
No,
it?
it's fine.
I
That's
love
fine.
this after chat where we're like, well, what did you think about these interactions? And it's like you're actually,
I want to point out that a lot of what you guys are talking about is interactions between the players rather than the system, which is so different than your past decisions where it's like.
But the only problem I had with the system today was, oh, here's the quest that the guy wants you to do. It's physically fucking impossible for you to do it. Like that was like the only problem that I had with it, right? So
5 negative dice, knowing that we have the best chance we can get is 2 positive.
I love the idea, right? We're so perfect at getting in. We get in there.
The roll I made when I succeeded was a blue, a green, and a yellow versus all the negative dice, which isn't too bad.
That was with a 4 star.
Let me set the scene for you guys, right? We're perfect at getting in. We're stealthy. Jax is an amazing pilot. Fucking Dargo has a little problems getting over there, but that is the plot of the story, right? It makes a little tension. He gets into the supercomputer room, and he looks up. It's just a massive wall of fucking computers, and he's like, shit.
Yeah.
I open up the back to figure out which cable I have to tap, and it's literally just like a massive wire just falls onto my face.
Yeah.
And they're all exactly the same color.
Yeah, same color.
So, Arthur, I have a question for you. Instead of, if we were to do something like use a force point to make situational advantages for ourselves within that context, would you have lessened the cost of the ability? Like, for example,
flashback.
Like, I mean, like, if we were to like set up the scene where it's like, he walks in, the computer is far more high tech than you anticipated it to be, but you can still like you know that there is a part on this computer that can be accessed by older means.
I mean,
or whatever.
You could set the scene that back on the asteroid base, the Hut Lord has gotten Dargo to work on it on occasion, so we know. So we know.
He's already got a back door in there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we know of.
Yeah, okay, that's a good way. I mean, yeah, we're still getting used to the system too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I unfortunately have to go because it's late.
Yeah.
Okay, feel free to continue conversing.
Late. It's 4:30, man.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
I think it's time to end the show.
Everyone.
Let's say good night to our audience. Good night, everybody.
Good night, audience.
Good night.
Vote. Also, follow, like, subscribe. Have